WeRMemory has become pretty renowned for their Lucky 8 punches.
Lucky 8 because it takes 8 punches to go around and make a circle.
Right. And then they created a mini 8, which
does the same thing, but a 6-inch circle.
Right. Now they've stepped up their game and they have a 2-edge punch in the same patterns to go with some brand new mini 8s.
So it creates some great new techniques that we're going to show you.
Right. Come play with us. And here are the 2 latest ones, doily and trellis. And did you notice that we wore our colors kind of, we didn't do that on purpose, it just happened. Okay, so there's the doily and the matching 2-edge punch in the same doily pattern.
And then the trellis mini 8 and the 2-edge punch. And we're going to talk about the doily first.
Okay, so scoot these away. It does tell you on the back of the package how to do the basic punch to make the circle, so we won't go into that. It also does show you on the back of the 2-edge punch a little bit more information, but we're going to cover that too. So, so we're all you need. Okay, here we go with our very first project, and this is a card. So as you know, we generally start from easiest, going just a little bit more involved. And so what do you have on the doily?
Well, on the doily punch, we start out with this. This is the 6-inch, and it's just using that mini 8, which is this one, to go all the way around with those 8 punches, which we've shown before, and you get that 6-inch circle.
So basically, it's 1 punch in each corner, turn the paper over, and do another punch. And
what's great about this is now we have, with the 2-edge punch, you can make an 8-inch because you're going to do the corners and then you're going to fill in with that edge punch. So you've got an 8-inch and you've got a 10-inch and a 12-inch. You just keep getting bigger.
Yeah.
So 6, 8, 10, 12. And that's what you can do when you combine them. And then when you want to just use the edge punch, you can do 1 edge like that, or you can turn this over and I'll show you. 1 edge is this little arrow pointing down to the bottom and then pushing that little doohickey up there, and now you've got a 2-edge strip.
Oh, so that's all you do.
That's all you do.
To get the difference.
Is to change it to getting a 2-edge strip, which they call a border strip. So now, you've got an edge and a border.
This is going to punch in 1 punch.
In 1 punch, you have this. If you want, you can use this, the 1-edge punch, on both sides, and then you've just got this big wide border. Sure. Also, on the bottom of here, you've got a little lock here, so you can keep it safe for when the kids are around if you don't want them using it.
Or if you just want it only for yourself. Okay, this is out of the grapefruit paper, and let's see. We have that strip that has been done in the middle, and then are these examples of doing it on a wider piece with the one side?
Correct. So you're going to cut your piece about 3/8 of an inch larger than you're going to use, and then you're going to use 1 edge on here and 1 edge on here, and then you've got that wide piece.
Right. Beautifully done. I love the layers. Here in a smaller version with the double edge, and then the middle one is the 2-sided.
Yeah, they call it a border strip. So you've got that strip right in the center.
And then on the inside, just simply using the border strip.
Actually, that's using, I know because right in the middle they would be so close together. I'm going to show you again.
Okay, thank you.
The border strip, you have this little, it'll be like that right in the center. So if you're not seeing those that close together, then it was used as a single edge on both sides. And it's real simple. And when you get it and you play with it, you'll figure it out real easy too.
Okay, so great way to use that. Now, if you want to do the 6-inch circles, here's a really fun way to use those circles. And you're going to show us?
I'm going to show you.
Gail is quickly grabbing her demo.
It wasn't done on this paper, but I want to show you that we started out with a 6-inch punch. So I punched a 6-inch punch on one on green and one on yellow. So now I'm going to bring in the part when it's all together. because you're going to have that one big, and then you cut it in half. Now you've got half of that circle, and then I cut off 1 inch from each side. Okay, so now you've got 2 like that.
Okay, wait, so it was...
See, I don't have the full...
Yeah.
If it was a full... Here we go.
Oh, there
if
you
it
go.
was a full circle, it would be the whole thing like that.
Okay.
I cut it in half, and then I cut 1 inch off of each edge, so I have this size.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Then I've got 2. I did the same thing with the green. Then I have my white cardstock, and I just start laying them on center about 1/16 of an inch away. 1 yellow.
And you're keeping the straight edge against the straight edge
Against
of
the
the
straight
cardstock.
edge, and I'm keeping it centered as well. And then a yellow piece here, and I glued them down as I went along. And then the last piece, except for the last piece, which I tucked this one underneath there and let that one, so then it's sort of a pinwheel effect.
Very
so.
pretty, very striking. And then in this case, you did a little bit of stamping on the center there. Let's get in close to see that little tiny thanks.
And that's from the tiny...
Little, just a little greeting.
Just a little greeting stamp
And
set,
then it
which
looks
are
to
great.
me like you've used the green jewel border dazzles and the gold.
And the gold, and I put the green ones on the yellow and the gold ones on the green.
You know, it almost makes a little butterfly in the corner.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
And this is the geometric paper pack.
Right. And then on the inside, another example of the strip,
Of the strip.
and the border.
That is the border strip on the center, and then using the edge on a bit larger piece of paper.
I also like the stamping you've done with "You're the Best" in a darker green, and then thanks
Right.
in the lighter.
It's the same green. It's actually, it's a new color. It's a mint from the fluid chalk ink pads.
Okay.
And then I just stamped off before I stamped, so it's just a little lighter.
Smart woman. Plus, you didn't have to buy 2 ink pads. Okay, we have another look. Now, what has been so fun around here is playing with these and just seeing the variety of things you can do.
Right.
And this qualifies.
I'm going to start with the actual card. If you open it up,
Okay.
then here's what we started with. I have my card. I cut 1 inch, I believe 1 inch off. Oh, I wrote it down so I know. I started by cutting a 1/2 inch off of the right side. So now I've got a 6 inch because I've got that 6 inch punch that I'm going to work with. Then I opened it up.
So this is a 6 inch by 5 inch card now.
It is now a 6
Yeah.
by 5 card.
Okay.
And then I opened it up and cut 1 inch off of the top. This is from the Rosemary and Thyme paper pack.
Okay.
I put the paper on the inside, and then I'm going to show you what I did. You grab the doily Mini 8,
Okay.
and I'm going to start on the white part of the card. And I'm just going to do 2 corners, but it's going to take 4 punches.
Right.
1,
And that always looks so
2.
strange, like, what?
And then you turn it over,
Right.
line up that little bit right in the corner there.
It's the only part that will fit in the corner.
Right, and I always dump that part out because you don't want it to interfere with your next punch. And those little corners can be used for things.
I bet they can.
Little
Of course
squares
they
of
can.
paper. All the little fun confetti too, that's for the kids.
Down, Gail.
Now you've got this part done. So you've got the front.
How lovely is that? But you've got these funny
But
straight
we want
edges.
to do the edges. So then we get in our 2-edge punch. I'm going to make sure, I always make sure that it's on the setting that is one edge, and there's a little...
Getting close to see that if we can.
There's a little arrow right there, and you have to have it close. It doesn't have to be right on it, but there it is. And then when I turn it over, there are 2 things we're looking at. For our purposes right now, we're going to look at these colored images.
Okay.
There are colored images and there are foiled images. When you want to line this up with one of the edges that's already been cut from the Mini 8, then you set this on like this, and you're going to line these edges up. You want to see that colored image right through the cut pattern. So you might have to get pretty close to see that. I'm going to put the flat edge here, and then right here I'm going to make sure that that salmon colored
Oh, and you're lining up the design
Yeah, I'm
too.
lining up the design with it. Make sure you
Okay.
can see that through there. Then you punch it. And if you do it right, it just lines right up with it. Now, as you move this down and start punching the edge, now you're going to use that foil design to line up your pattern. So as long as you can see that silver colored look through there.
Okay. And then it just goes straight down.
Then it just goes straight down.
Okay.
I'm going to do that all the way down 1 inch so you can see. And I think I got the whole thing.
You did.
And that's what I did. So now I do that on both sides so that when you close it, it goes all the way down the edges as well.
And then all your confetti. And then you have a couple of other layers that you've done.
I made a 6 inch. This is the trellis pattern, but I actually did it with the doily pattern.
Okay.
And since it's double-sided paper, you can turn it over. And I made just a little, sort of a little taco fold.
So,
And just set it right on top there.
oh wow, you make it so easy.
And then we've got the
Butterfly
the
dazzles.
butterfly dazzles
Uh-huh.
underneath that.
On the inside, then backed with some paper. Fun to place them on the knotted ribbon, knots at each
Yeah,
end.
you can see it real well that way. I like the way it stood out.
You know, it's really fun to see you go through that process because it is much simpler than the finished result looks.
Yeah, it looks like there's all of these layers,
Right.
and it just doesn't take long at all.
And I'm going to spend forever punching, but not so. Beautiful look. Now, that's all been with the doily. The trellis has a different pattern, of course, and you want to pull those in so we
Sure.
can see?
These here?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Okay.
So this time I'm going to start with the largest.
Are you? Okay.
Here's the 12 inch
Okay.
here, and so that's combining the mini 8 and the single edger.
Right.
And there's a 10 inch, an 8 inch, and this is a 6 inch using only the mini 8 punch.
Okay.
Now the 2 edges, you have a single edge here, and then here is the border strip that's cut. And that's all from the trellis design.
Okay. And some ways you might use that. Well, here's one, and this is just a really fun flower.
And this is done, I don't have anything to show you on it, but it was done on another webisode where we used the mini 8s and the edgers. And it's a strip, a long strip of vellum, and Erica used just a single edge punch on that.
And
Which
this is the trellis,
The
so-
trellis, that's this one, the single edge punch. And just to cut around the edges, and then she accordion folded the paper and then wrapped it around to create that.
Probably since this is out of vellum, or even if you do out of paper, you might want to score that before you do the accordion fold.
Right.
That way you'll get a nice crisp fold.
And she scored it right on the center of each little cutout design and then right in between them.
Okay, so do that long strip, then go back and accordion fold it and form it into a circle, and you've got that.
Looks like a medal for Dad.
It does. It's wonderful. I think it could also be a really pretty
The
flower.
North Country paper pack with all of these great ribbons.
Yes, looks beautiful. And then this is the
That
double-sided.
is the double-sided, so it's that
Okay.
setting there that shows it on both sides. That's the setting, there we go, that you're going to use. It would be, the little arrow would be pushed up there when you want to use that.
It just seems such a simple process to go from a strip to a double-sided border.
Before you pull this away, I want to show you something kind of unique. We have our hot off the press cutting dies, and this one is the fancy lattice.
Except now they have foam in them.
Now they have foam, that's right. So it makes it all easier for all these little pieces to pop out.
Plus, so they'll work.
Here's the design, and if you look close, it is the exact same cutout. It's not the exact same size, but it's the exact same cutout design, so you can find a way to combine these.
Yeah, very nice. So great minds, I think, are running alike. Now, this is a scrapbook page that we showed earlier when we were focusing on the paper twine. But here it is, and we're using it because it uses the Mini 8 trellis.
Right.
And
So
wow.
so what you have here, and this is the picnic paper pack. So in the background, I took a 12 by 12 paper, and I used both punches, the Mini 8 and the 2-edge punch, to create that edge around there. And you can see that it just cuts it down just enough so that you can have another 12 by 12 behind it to make it stand out.
And just in case you're wondering, you don't have to glue down every little part of it. Glue the basic part, let the rest of it just rest on that cardstock, and when you slip it in the sheet protector, it's going to be perfectly fine.
Sure. I even kind of like to pull up the edges on this a little bit because it makes it look kind of frilly.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then behind the photo, there are strips. This long strip that's this dotted strip was, I'll show you, it was one wide strip, it was about 2 inches wide, and I used the single edge punch on one edge, and then I did it on the other edge, so that ends up looking like this. So that wasn't using the border strip punch where it does them both at the same time. You have to do them separately.
Okay.
And then I used suede, did a single punch, and set them underneath there. Like
Now
that.
that's really striking. Now the other smart thing about that is because the suede paper is a specialty paper, so it's this particular one is an 8.5 by 11, but it's also more costly. So rather than have this whole piece, you've got 2 shorter pieces to do your matting.
And because it's not 12 by 12, you can't run that the whole length. So you've just got little pieces that you can put, a little piece up there and a little piece down here.
Right.
So that works.
Now you've also used the punch along this piece of journaling, and you've done some chalking or inking there?
That's inking. That's the Distress ink, one of the new, let's see, maybe it's not one of the newer ones. It's, I don't remember the color, but it's in the instructions on the website.
I also love this piece that you've done. This really looks like lace.
And that was using the single edge on 2 sides so I could get just a little bit more room so I could journal. And I did the journaling first and then punched the edge so I could make sure I got it right.
Now, if you're wondering about the paper twine, that is a separate webisode, and we'll show you how to do it, and so no secrets here.
Check out that webisode. It's a great one. Paper twine is a lot of fun.
And it was earlier.
I am going to point out that back here, there's another one of these doilies. But the neat thing about this is a 6-inch by 8-inch doily.
Oh.
And I'm going to show you that.
You are, okay.
Because I want to show you how to combine the edges really quick. Now, here's the paper from the paper pack. I love the bandana look.
Is this 6 by 8?
This is a 6-inch by 8-inch piece of paper. And I started with the mini 8, and this is the one I used? Yeah, I think so. Okay, this is the Trellis. So you start by doing the corners. And like any mini 8, you're going to get all 4 corners, and then you're going to do it 4 more times, so that's 8 punches. And it's a rectangular sheet of paper, so it's not going to end up being circular. So that's kind of the unique thing. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over and get the corners the whole way. Dump out that little piece. I have those. I'm going to keep those.
You're going to have a little bag of squares when you're done, aren't you?
Well, it's fun. You never know where you can use little scraps of paper on something. There we go. Almost all the way around. So that's our 8 punches.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got that part done. If I turn it over, you can see that I've done both ends. Because it was 6-inch, it went all the way around. But now I've still got to get those edges. So I get out my mini 8, my 2-edge punch, make sure that it's on, a
single edge.
I've done that so many times. You have to check because then I'll go in there and I kind of mess it up. So it's on a single edge now.
Okay.
Now, because you're lining up what you just did with the mini 8, you're going to use the colored coordinated part of it.
Because it's a curve.
Right. And I first line up that flat edge, I set it back there so I can feel it, and then I move it over until those little pictures are lined up right there, just perfect. And I can actually see, because it was a 6-inch, since it's 8 inches wide, you can see it on both sides. This should only take 1 punch, and there we go.
Voila.
And you do it on the same on the other side, and well, I'll go ahead and do it because it's quick. See how quick that is? And there you go.
So you can
all the way around
manipulate your sizes. Let me just lay this on top here. So this goes right there, and it creates another layer for your photograph. like that. Beautiful. Now we have
Lots of fun.
one more scrapbook page, and this is using the doily. We're going back, and lots of different ways here. So
on the Penelope paper pack, and Lene started out with this really large, a 12 by 12, and she only had to do these 3 edges and corners,
Right.
because she's got this nice big strip. So it was one big strip of paper. She used an edge on one part, and then she backed it with some white cardstock. So if you come in really close,
let's get in close. We both have the same idea.
Yeah.
So you can see that.
She backed it with that, and then she kind of, as Erica says, fussy cutted around the edges to make it even with it. It's that little tiny matting.
And what a beautiful border this is.
And that's the border
on top
strip,
of it.
right.
Some blue dazzles on the top. Now, she wasn't done, so she had some other area right here in this photograph.
So just a little strip, a little piece of that border strip on the photo only with more of the jewel dazzles.
Right, and these are the foil paper towel on top. So just a lovely page. So whether you are a scrapbooker, a card maker, any sort of paper crafter, I think you're going to fall in love with the Mini 8 and the 2-edge punches.
And the 2-edge punches.
Yeah.
Have fun punching.
And I think there'll be more of them too.
Yeah.